Hey guys, so now that we have a vaccine, you might actually be thinking, maybe I can start to consider whether or not I want to teach a calligraphy workshop. So in this video, I'm going to be teaching you exactly how you can host your own workshop and the step-by-step process for doing that. Now, this video is based on a blog post that I wrote earlier this year. And so if you check the link in the description, you can find the link to the original blog post, which actually has a bit more detail. And before we get into the video, I want to remind you that you can get access to 15 free in-depth training videos if you're a calligrapher and you want to do more in your business. So these are videos about how to grow your Instagram, how to register your business, how to get on-site events, how to start a website, and a lot more other topics on how to start a calligraphy business. So make sure you check that out in the link in the description. The first question you might be asking yourself is whether or not you are actually good enough to teach calligraphy. And so there's two things I actually want you to think about. The first thing is your skill level for calligraphy. And the second thing is your teaching skill, your level of public communication skills and just overall interpersonal skills for teaching. For the calligraphy skill level, remember that you are teaching beginners. So do you have to be the most advanced calligrapher to be able to teach beginners? Probably not. I definitely wasn't when I started teaching, and when I started teaching, it was about 6 months after I learned calligraphy. So I was like at an intermediate kind of level, and I started teaching brush lettering workshops. Oh, by the way, this video works for brush lettering and pointed pen. For the other consideration of whether your teaching skills are good enough, think about whether or not you will be comfortable talking to strangers in public and helping them do demonstrations and just overall public speaking and like communicating with people in a big group. If you are comfortable with that, then I would say definitely you are okay to teach. But also if you feel like you're a little bit nervous to talk in front of people, it's not the end of the world. You can still teach people. If you haven't checked out last week's video on how to overcome fear and how to have confidence as a calligrapher, then make sure you check that out because that can really help you if you are a little bit scared to do public speaking in front of a big group. So make sure you check out that video after this video. Okay, so let's say that right now you've mustered up the strength to teach your first calligraphy workshop. Now, where do you start? First, I would recommend you doing like a beta tester calligraphy workshop with your friends first. So I know that teaching might sound scary, but if you can try out the idea with your friends first, and they're not strangers, so they're gonna love you no matter what, even if you suck at teaching. If you can teach your friends first, do like a trial workshop or like a beta workshop, that's what I call it. Then you can see if you actually like teaching, if the people you teach can actually learn something for you, and if you just like teaching in general, and if that's something you want to do. So how can you do that? The easiest way is to invite a couple of friends over and to just teach them calligraphy. You don't even have to have worksheets for this, but you can just buy a couple pens, get them to sit down, maybe get some snacks, and just tell them, here are the basic strokes, this is how you do it, here are the letters, here are the sentences, and try it. Well, obviously not that fast, but you would let them try it and then help them troubleshoot the problems that they have. And make sure that at the end of a trial or a beta workshop that you actually collect feedback and you ask your friends, hey, like, what did you like about like the workshop? What did you not like? What did you think I could improve on? And then bring that feedback into the next workshop that you do, which could be another one with friends, or maybe you'll have the courage to do like a small public workshop, and that is up to you. Now, the next thing you might be wondering about is how do you make worksheets for a workshop? Obviously, a workshop needs to have some kind of material or resource, right? And you can't just take someone else's workshops. That is not allowed. And if you are teaching your own calligraphy workshop, I would highly recommend, no, this is not even me highly recommending, like you must make your own resources because you're the one teaching the material. And so if you're the one who made the resources, you would actually be the most comfortable teaching with your own material. And trust me, you do not want to copy someone else's material. So there are 3 ways that you can make worksheets. The first way is to literally do it by hand. Like you print out some lines and do it by hand, and then you photocopy it and then give those worksheets to the people attending your workshop. That is definitely the most easiest way and the least time-consuming way. But the thing is, if you make a mistake on one of the sheets, then you gotta start over and redo the entire sheet. But it is a very easy way to start making worksheets if you're just getting started. The second way is to do it by hand and then digitize. So if you aren't familiar with using programs like Adobe Illustrator or other graphic design kind of programs, then I would highly recommend you maybe seeing if you have a friend who can help you out, or hiring a graphic designer to help you digitize your worksheets if you've done them by hand. What I did for my first set of worksheets is I did it by hand, and then I have a really good friend who is a graphic designer, and he actually helped me put together all of the worksheets. And the third way to make your own worksheets is to do it all digitally. So if you have a tablet or if you have an iPad, then you can just do it all digitally. And for me, I would have done this, but I don't have a tablet or an iPad, so I just did it by hand and it worked out fine for me. If you're not sure what you should include in your worksheets, what you can do is watch some YouTube videos on how beginners learn and just make worksheets off of that. But I can just tell you right now that everyone starts with the basic strokes, and then they move on to letters, and then from letters they move on to connecting letters and then words. So that's exactly how you can structure your workbook. Now the next question you might be asking yourself is, okay, now that I have the worksheets, where do I host the workshop? Where do I find a good location? Well, right now we are in like COVID times, so you probably won't be able to do an in-person workshop right now in 2020. So you can do it online through Zoom or other like video conferencing platforms. Just make sure you're able to figure out a way where you can position your camera or your tablet or your laptop where people can see you doing demonstrations. And that's how you do an online workshop. For an in-person workshop, you can rent a place, and there are tons of places where you can rent. There are like community centers, you could look into schools, you can look into different art centers. There's a whole lot of different places you can rent. But actually what I started to do when I started to host workshops is I actually held them in cafes. And I would ask the cafe if I could host a workshop, and in return, I would get everyone at the workshop to buy something at the cafe. And I really like that idea because I didn't have to provide food. People could be doing calligraphy in a kind of like cool atmosphere if you find like a really hip cafe or something. And you're also supporting other local businesses. One important thing to remember if you are hosting your workshop in a cafe or another location where they're kind of providing it to you for free is that you make sure you tell them in advance and see if it's okay that you are charging people for the event, okay? Because a lot of cafes are okay with people just hosting like a meetup or like a study group, but you do have to let them know that you are charging people for the event and make sure that they are okay with that. Actually, in the original blog post that I wrote about how to host a workshop, I have a little bit more detail about how to find a location, so make sure you check that out in the link in the description. So now that you found a location, you might be wondering, how the heck do I do marketing for my event and how do I sell tickets? If you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of traffic on your website, I would definitely recommend posting your event on a event ticketing platform like Eventbrite. The reason for this is that you don't have to know the people who are coming. They can just like find you from that platform and they can register for your event. So it gives you a lot more exposure. So once you've created your event, definitely post it and blast it out on all your social media channels. And I remember when I was first doing my workshops, I would even like email people that I hadn't been in contact with for a long time and just let them know, hey, like I started doing this. I would really love it if you could like check it out. And here's a coupon code for 10% off. I'm actually a really big fan of giving discounts, like a small one, like 10%, just so the people feel like they're a little bit special. And if you're finding that you don't have enough ticket sales when it's like close to the day of the workshop, don't panic. This happens, but there are some things you can do. First of all, blast it out again on all your social media. And by the way, you should be blasting it out like as much as you can, not just at the beginning when you launch the event, and at the end. You should be doing it regularly on your social media, blasting out and telling people about your workshop. The other thing is to get people who have registered already for the workshop and tell them that they can invite their friend for a small discount. Like they can get like 10% or 20%, or if you're really desperate for people, then even 50% if it's like the last 2 days before the workshop and you just want to like fill the seat. Another thing that you can do, and this is a little secret of mine, is that you can get your friends on Facebook to just click interested in the event, even if they're not going, because the friends of your friends will then see your event on their Facebook feed, even though they aren't your friend and even though your friend is not attending your workshop. So you get more exposure that way. If you're enjoying this video so far, make sure you take a screenshot of this video and follow me on Instagram at Dina Calligraphy. Post this to your Instagram stories and tag me, because I would love to feature you back and shout you out back and help you get some more followers. So make sure you take that screenshot and share this with all your calligrapher friends. And before you go, make sure you check out the original blog post that I made on how to host a workshop for way more in-depth details on how to find a location, how to sell tickets, and how to make worksheets. So I hope this video has been useful for you. Good luck in hosting your first workshop, whether it's in person or online. And let me know in the comments if this video was helpful for you. Are you going to use some of these strategies? Are you planning to host a calligraphy workshop? Have you already hosted a workshop? Let me know. I am curious and I would love to connect with you. And don't forget to sign up in the link in the description for access to 15 free in-depth training videos for calligraphers on topics related to how to start a calligraphy business. So thanks so much for watching, and make sure you subscribe. I always share resources on how to start a calligraphy business and how to start a creative business. And yeah, I hope that you have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. And make sure you check out this video if you're interested in learning more about how to start a business. Bye.